All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakarkadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and the women who follow. This is a brother Krasazaz from the GMS Nebraska camp, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yashai. This lesson being entitled, You Must Be Proactive in Your Salvation. Now, I want to preface that by saying, you know, everything is already predetermined. We know that the elect was chosen from the beginning of this world, but the Most High gives us um, the illusion of self will, you know, and with that illusion, we don't know that we're the elect. We don't know who the elect is, so we have to do what the elect would be doing, right? Because which the Most High is so cold, everything that we do has already been predetermined, but we don't know what that predetermined path is. So as we go throughout our daily life, it feels like we are the ones who are making these decisions. Yeah, everything is predetermined. So as you're going through your daily life and you're making your decisions, you know, you have to be proactive in your salvation. All right, so Lord's will, that's easily to be understood, and Lord's will, this is edifying. So let's get this. Matthew 7:7. It says, "Ask and it shall be given you; seek and ye shall find; knock and it shall be open for you." So you have to ask. You have to open up your mouth. My mom always said, "A closed mouth don't get fed." You know, as many have heard that. You know, a closed mouth don't get fed. You have to ask the Lord to sup with you, which we'll get that here in a second. But you have to ask the Lord to work with you. You have to, have that relationship with Yahweh Bashem Shai that you're able to ask for the wisdom. Like Solomon. Solomon asked for wisdom. Okay, and because he asked for wisdom, he was given everything. We have to ask for wisdom. We have to ask for the Lord to deal with us. And it's like it. And if the Lord has chosen us and he does deal with us, we will receive everything. We're not going to receive it on this side. All right, we're going to receive everything in the kingdom of heaven. But you have to ask. It says, seek and ye shall find. You got to go seek it before you find it. You're not going to just trip and fall into salvation. When you're seeking something, you're looking for it. You're crawling on hands and knees, digging through the dirt, using a metal detector, which is just using some technology. That's like using the blue letter or using Google scripture that says X, Y, and Z. You know that's using uh, uh, a metal detector, but it works. It's going to get you closer to the goal. But you have to be willing to put in the work. All right. If how can I put this? If there's something that you want in life, it's not gonna just come to you. You know, if there's something that you want in life, you can't just sit on your hands and knees and expect it to just fall into your lap. All right, and this truth, this salvation is the same way. All right, you have to be proactive. I keep saying that, so let's get this word proactive. All right. It says the act is given to worldly activity. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it says proactive persons or policies as the opposition of react. The opposition of reactive, taking the initiative in a situation, anticipating events. Are we not anticipating the coming of the Lord? Are we not anticipating the destruction of America? Are we not anticipating the World War III and the MOTB, the concentration camps, Jacob's trouble, all of that? It's prophecy. But we have to, the key word in here is take the initiative. Let's get this word. A beginning, right? A disposition to take the lead, right? So there has to be a beginning. There has to be a start place where it just it clicks in your mind. Something has that light bulb has to go off. And once that light bulb goes off and you say, "Oh, I understand it now." If you know, you know. But you have to have that initial spark, all right, that beginning. You have to take the lead and want to be better and formulate a plan on how you're gonna be better, and then scratch and scrape and do whatever you it takes or whatever you need to do to be successful in this mission. Revelation 3:20 it says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me." The Lord is already at the door, right? This scripture says that the Lord is already at the door. Right? Because remember over here it says, "Ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you." So in this situation, you're at the door. All right. You're at the door and you need to knock. You have to have that initiative to knock on the Lord's door, to pull up on the Lord. Hey, call on your outside. Hey, you know, what can I do, Lord? You know, just to put it in, today's terms. But, just praying, meditate on these scriptures, do what you're supposed to do, to build that personal relationship. So in this sense, you are the one that's knocking. But hey, if you knock on the door of the Lord, guess what? He gonna come back. He gonna knock on your door. It says that he stands at the door, and if you hear his voice and you open the door, he's gonna sup with you. He's gonna come in. Let's get this word sup. The Strong's G1172. Depino, just to sup, to dine, to take the principal, to eat the evening meal. All right, so it's short for supper. And what is that? He's gonna eat with you. All right, y'all gonna eat together. That means he's gonna feed you with this knowledge. Right? The scriptures talk about eating a whole row. So you have to be spiritual to know when the Lord is knocking on your door. Because if you're carnal, if you're caught up in the world, if you got too much going on, or if you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, then you're not gonna hear the voice of the Lord. Like Samuel heard the voice and he came and he told Eli, he said, "What's up? You called me, huh?" He said, "No, I ain't call you. I'll call you, man. Go back to sleep." So then Samuel went back to sleep and he heard the voice of the Lord And he said, "Here am I." He said, "Eli, you called me, bro. I heard you. You called me." He said, "No, I ain't call you, man. Go back to sleep." And then it happened a third time. And he said, "You know what? That's the Lord. The Lord is talking to you." He understood. He understood it. So then, Samuel went back into the bed, and when he heard, the Lord calling him, Samuel answered. And look at his rap sheet. Look at the works, the great works that Samuel did. And his works do follow him. Samuel was a great man in Israel, but he heard that not. We have to have our Samuel moment. We have to have our light bulb going off, all right, and hear the Lord knocking at the door and answer him. This is 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 10. It says, "Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure." And I got that word diligent, but I want to get this word calling as well. This is a Strong's G2821 Clasius. This is a calling to, a call, an invitation, right? The Lord is inviting you, right? To what? To this feast, to this truth. Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your invitation, all right, into the elect sure, right? So let's go to this word diligence, which is Strong's G4707 spoudazo. All right, it says to hasten, to make haste, to exert oneself. So you got to put energy into this and exert yourself, to endeavor, to give diligence. And we got that word endeavor. All right, it says pains taken to obtain an object, literally in duty, right? You have to be in duty. You have to get your hands dirty. All right, pains, not hugs and kisses. Pain, it hurts. All right, you're putting your body through something. You're exerting yourself to do it, to attain an object. With that object is salvation. Okay, so we know diligence. Okay, so let's go back to the scripture. It says, "Wherefore the rather, brethren, give painstaking effort to make your invitation and the election sure. For if you do these things, you shall never fail." All right, you got to go through something to get to something. And the Lord gave you an invitation. He gave you an invite to the party. But you got to show up with the right outfit. You got to show up in the right clothing. All right, you got to be clothed with this truth. All right, Sirach 2:1. "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." If you want to answer this invitation, you got to prepare your soul for temptation. I ain't even mean to do that. But we'll back it up one more time. If you want to answer his invitation, you have to prepare your soul for the temptation. And according to Spoudazo, you got to go through something. All right, it's not going to be easy. I'm not here to tell you that it's going to be easy in this truth. It's going to be hard. You got to break habits that you've had since adolescence, pubescence, all right, since you were a child. A lot of us didn't grow up with parents. Maybe you grew up with a single mom, and you have a strong male figure in your life, and you got some growing up to do. You got to put away that childish spirit. Maybe you grew up with both parents. Maybe you were in the church. Maybe we all come from all walks of life, and everybody hell is tailor made to them. So what I struggle at, you might be you might have a grade A at. But what you struggle at, I may have a B plus at. But we all have to overcome. All right. It's not going to be easy in this thing. But I tell you what, it's going to be well worth it. Value. The salvation is invaluable. You can't put a number on it. You can't put a value on salvation. Maybe that's the next lesson. Let me write that down real quick before I forget it. Baba Rashad, y'all bear with me. The water for your patience. Let's get this last precept and we'll end it with this. This is Acts 14 and 22. It says, confirming souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, pushing them to continue in the faith. All right. Exhorting them, calling out where they could be better, lifting up on their wins, all right, and critiquing their losses. It says, and that we must go through much tribulation, right? And that we must go through much tribulation, and that we must go through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom, right? Much tribulation. I'm gonna keep saying it. Much tribulation. It's not gonna be easy, but you got to be proactive in your salvation. You got to duck these rocks that are thrown at you. You got to dodge that banana peel like on Mario Kart. You might get the Sonic rings knocked at you, but you get back up. You get back on that horse. All right. You keep running the race and continue the course. All right. You have to finish this. He that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. And as long as you're making a concerted effort, it doesn't matter if you know 1,000 precepts or 14 precepts or 2 precepts. What matters is your effort to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Now, I'm not saying you can come in this thing and be in this for 30 years and know 2 precepts. Everything has a time and a place and an effort and an energy. But if you come in last Thursday and salvation happens next Tuesday, I'm pretty sure the Lord's not going to require you to, know the whole Bible front and back. But it's your sincere energy. And ultimately, it's the Lord's choice. But the Lord ain't choose, no wicked niggas. The Lord ain't choose, the Lord chose, I say it like this, the Lord chose men of integrity. The Lord chose men of integrity. So be a man of integrity. And with that said, Lord's word, this is edifying. And, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakar, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, of the men and the women who follow. Shalom.